funny thing about kids is that the same reason why we lose it and the same reason why we hold it up together. Welcome to the Parenting Show. This is a show where we'll be talking about matters parenting, from real life stories of parents experiencing different journeys through parenting, and even having experts on the show giving us advice pertaining parenting on what we can do on some of the things as we walk through the journey of parenting.
The solution to anything parenting starts with yes, I'm here. I can hear you. How can I help you? And also easy tips that you can apply on your day-to-day parenting journey. My name is Juliet and I will be taking you through Parenting 101 segment later on. But for now, let's see what my co-host Chep has for us.
Thank you so much, Juliet. My name is Chepchumba Cherus, or you can call me Chep. And today on the show, I'm going to start off with my story. And on my story, I'm hosting a lady called Sylvia Mora. Sylvia is a mom of 3, but 2 of her babies are able differently. She'll be sharing her story on the show and how the journey has been for her. I mean, it's not easy raising 2 babies who are able differently. Without further ado, let me introduce Sylvia to the show. But before I bring in Sylvia, let's connect on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Katie and Home, and on my personal handles at Chepchumba Cherus on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter it's at Marlin Cherus. The hashtag to use is The Parenting Show. Welcome to The Parenting Show. Hi guys, welcome to The Parenting Show. My name is Chepchumba Cherus. I can call me Chep. And today on my story, I have an amazing lady, a mom of 3. Her name is Sylvia Mora. Actually, Sylvia has an amazing story because 2 of her babies are able differently. And she'll be telling us her story. So without further ado, welcome Sylvia.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming through. Can you introduce yourself here?
I'll take it from the top. So my name is Sylvia Mora Muchabo. As you mentioned, I'm a mother of 3 handsome boys. Of course, they take it from their mama. And God saw it befits that I become a special needs parent. And I have 2 children who are on the autism spectrum, but very different. The spectrum is something that's very, very different. And so my eldest is 14. My second born is turning 10 in a few days. And my last born is 8. I'm a single parent on top of that. Professionally, I'm a graphic designer and a brand consultant. I run a company called Tech Hub Holdings, which has 3 subsidiaries in the space of brand consultancy and public relations. Currently the reigning Miss Africa Elite 2020, Miss Africa United Nations, and Elite Face of Africa. I run a foundation called Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons, which champions for inclusion and policy change for persons with neurodevelopmental disabilities. I am the patron for Makadara Sub-County Scouts, and I'm a Rotarian. That means I'm a lot in philanthropy, and in that space, I am the ARP in short, which in long it is the Assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator, where I oversee public relations of 4 countries. Thank you. That was the long and short introduction.
Wow. Clearly, you're a jack of all trades. How has it been for you? Actually, yeah, just tell us that kidogo, then I'll bring in the first one.
Okay. First of all, being a special needs parent, it doesn't come with a manual. We all give birth expecting perfect babies, and then they come and they're all so beautiful, and you never realize there's something different most of the times for us in the autism spectrum until later when they start having delayed milestones. So it's been a challenge, especially when you've already had a typical child. That is now my firstborn. There, the things now you see, you're always benchmarking, and trust us, in Africa, there's always that comparison. You're like, okay, what's going on with you? Why are you not catching up? Why are you not, and it can really throw you off. It is depressing. And by the time you accept that there's something different and seek some support from doctors and stuff like that, it takes you down a road that you don't anticipate, because first of all, the policies and the environment that we're having here in Kenya is not easy. The society is not as accommodative, because there's a lot of judgment. People are very harsh when it comes to comparison and expectations, you know. So when I got my first child, trust me, he was beautiful. He was more like a girl. Everyone would think like, oh my God, what's her name? So then at some point, he just started getting convulsions, and he had a lot of gastro issues. This is, you know, when we always say, oh my God, my baby's not sleeping well, he's always crying, he's having colic, you know, we're always told, Batemajina, what was that, gripe water, and it just doesn't go away. Yes. So I had to see a specialist, and they say he had gastro medication. I had to stop taking milk because I was breastfeeding him, and also stop any products with milk. So that made it a bit easier, but it didn't change. The other sign that was there, he had jaundice. He was preterm. He was born like 2 weeks prior, almost a month actually, because it was week 36 and it's supposed to be 40, yeah. But I had a very supportive family at work, and also immediate family. So yeah, baby came, and here we are. You discover as time goes by, because he didn't walk in time. When the convulsions came, you know, no one tells you some of these things. You don't expect it. Convulsions, for me, I felt like my child was dying, because during a convulsion, the entire body is shaking. His eyes roll back like you just see the white area. You know those things you see in scary movies, and this is your child. And you can't tell what is going on with them at that point in time. You don't know who to run to. So I just called up my doctor. I said, go to the... So they're like, you know, the way we're always told, put a spoon. You're thinking, this is a baby. I can't start putting spoons. He's not frothing. It's just totally different. So it lasted for a while. Then he just went quiet. And I'm like, he's dead, you know? And I didn't know what to do at that time. So I just called up mom. I called up, you know, all the people who advise you at the point in time. Then I called my pediatrician. So he was like, no, just rush him back to hospital. Then now that's when we started the process of trying to find the cause, and that is advising why we had the CT scan, and that is what was found. So I was told within 5 years he should be okay. And he was put on medication. Imagine, this is a 5-month-old, 6-month-old child. So my son has been on medication since he was 6 months to date. You know, when people tell you, like, when the doctors say, we think by the time he's 5, he'll be okay. When he's not walking, everyone's like, he's a boy, he'll catch up. My son...
Delayed milestones.
Yeah, all the delayed milestones. And then for me, I was so engrossed with all these other issues my baby was having, that I didn't realize small things. Like my dad was like, his neck is still, you know, flimsy at like 3 months. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't realize that. He's like, no, by now your child should be very firm and all these things. Then when he started crawling and then he was hit by the convulsions, the side effects used to be, because you see what convulsions do, they tamper with also the brain development. So your brain cells die. You can either get mental retardation, you can actually die. So at this point, my son used to get a lot of brain damage, in that he would forget every milestone we had. He had started crawling, he stopped crawling. He had started, you know, mumbling like he's about to talk. He stopped that. So it was a very depressing journey, to say the least. I was on medication, constant medication, pain. I didn't even know that yogurt and any ice cream was actually a soother for abdominal pain. That's a secret I learned. When you have, So there's a day I couldn't take, they couldn't increase my dosage for painkillers. But the doctor just said, you know what, just go grab some ice cream. You can imagine, I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, it's actually quite helped a bit. So I used to always have ice cream. But now it got to a point where the pain was too intense. They had to admit me in hospital, week 34, week 33. So I stayed in hospital for a week. I think also I was having so much pressurizing, you know, life expectations. I need to maintain this family. I still have this other child that I'm trying to cope and keep up with it. I had quit my job to give my child the attention that he needs. So I have a young business. It was crazy. It was just crazy. So they couldn't find what the problem was after all the tests you can think about. So the doctor just said, you know what, when it gets to 36 weeks, we won't wait. We'll just get this baby out, because when we're not sure what we're dealing with, it's a dangerous affair. So the day for going to CS came, and I went. And that's the point the doctor realized this whole time, my previous car was giving way. So you can imagine. So the baby was being exposed slowly. So he had said, if we had waited even an extra day, both of us would have died, you know, because he was like, this was just God, the way you guys have survived through. Looking at the time the pain started, he was like, this is just God. And I will always say, thank God he had gone to the US in this point in time by the time I was discharged, and when we came back, and that's when he learned about that early rupture or when you give birth too close and then your body is not fully healed. So yeah, but the baby was preterm. He was tiny. He was 2 kgs. He looked like he was so small. It was hell on earth, but we're here. Yeah, we survived. So these are the babies growing, but you're too engrossed trying to feed and keep them alive that I did not notice that he too was delayed. And because remember, having a previous child who was delayed, this is like how many years apart? These are several years apart. I'd forgotten how it's like, because you have to read and try and educate yourself. So playing this balance was not easy, because at that time financially I wasn't stable, because I would eat 1 meal a day, so that because my child was also, my milk went because of all this pressure. I didn't have milk to breastfeed my child. I was stressed out, and they always say when you're stressed, the hormones also change the taste of the milk for the child. Because now,
how are you even maintaining your sanity during that period, or how are you able to unwind and at least come back to your normal self, even if things were not okay, and still come back and look at your babies and even smile and even have that, what is it called, like the courage to take care of them, love them, at some point, I know it gets to a point, like as a parent or as a mom, mtoto anaweza kustress and you decide, you know what, as in we hata nakurudisha kwa baba yako, but you are there, we get to those moments.
I know those moments always come. Yes, the moments come, but I think my mom is very prayerful, because trust me, at that time, me and God were not best friends, because there is no way I was seeing you can be this cruel to one human being, because that's how I felt. No regrets, I'm like, no, there is no way all these things can be happening at the same time. And God gives you grace subconsciously. I never used to sit and, oh my God, I'm praying, I'm worship and whatnot. No, I would just walk and claim whatever, the power of attraction. When I used to walk to work, I'd leave my office at around 9 p.m. because fares were lowest at that time, because I have to manage my finances, yeah? So when I'm going home, I have to go with milk for the babies, remember, and porridge and whatnot. So everything was like at bare minimum. And when I'm walking, I used to declare, this is not my portion. I'd be like, God, look at me. I am walking, I'm looking to this matatu. It's 10 p.m. I'm a single lady. I was tiny. I was 48 kilos. And so you just look like, yes, exactly. I was 48 kilos at the time. I remember one time when I was walking with my kids and someone is like, oh, your brothers and sisters, why are they letting you carry? I'm looking at this person like, what? These are my kids, Oh, it was a crazy time of my life. But anyway, God gives you grace, even when you don't want to be his friend. But how I didn't lose it, I think it's because I had gone through depression after the child I lost. And I could identify when it's coming back, because I'd even attempted suicide before. So it's something that, been there, done that, I'm not going to go back, all right? So I had to brace myself. Like, you've been down before, you can sense when you're going down that road. So it's a matter of how you recollect yourself. I didn't have many friends. Because you see, when you marry early, everyone is like, okay, now that's a married woman, us guys are still single. So, and then you adopt your partner's friends. And when you divorce, you are alone. everyone believes, everyone goes. So trust me, life opens up. Like life really opens up. That's the time you know who's your friend, who's not your friend. And I had my best friend was just with me through and through, during that time. Like for sanity, we'd be like, I know we don't have money, but I'd do like one night away, not away, but like take myself out to dinner with her. We'd go with her for dinner, just sit, talk, like what are you going through, and just be there for each other. Because she was also a single lady, a single divorcee with 2 kids, and you can imagine she's the one who took me in even at the lowest point of time. So she helped me walk through this journey. I had acquired a friend also who helped me through, I used to go for rugby games with the boys, just distract yourself the chance you have. But over time, this was now later after I've gone through the darkest, because when you're going through the darkest tunnel, you don't even realize it. You're just staying alive. Of course, there are days I look at these kids and I'm like, if you were not here, my life was easier. But what that always did was send me back to regret. You see, like, because I'd been separated twice before, this was the third. I was like, had I not gone back, had I not sacrificed because of my child, the first one, to say, oh, I have a child, I need to go back for this child. Had I been selfish, maybe things would have been different. But you see, that's all part of parenting. We learn to be there for our children. We love our children more than we love ourselves. And that is some of the things that keep you going, even when you do not want to. The love, the tenderness, the openness that they show you, it cannot be compared to anything. So it got harder by time, because now you can imagine my child is not walking. I have another one who's here. Him, at least he walked faster. So he became like the pace setter to get the second born to catch up with everything else. But you can imagine now, I used to put him on a stroller, and then I have one on a stroller, one on my back, then my eldest son carries my bag. That's how we survived, because I wasn't driving at the time. So you can imagine having to go to, it's like someone who has a wheelchair and they need to enter Matatu. You know how stressful that is. So, and then you're here, you're this tiny, and people are making noise, you're delaying them. So going out used to be one of the hardest things I would go through, considering now the youngest child was also hyper, So, Lord, I don't know how I survived. I have no idea.
You're a strong woman. And let me ask Sylvia, how did the big brother take the small boys? I mean, niko sure at first alikuwa anashangaa what's not happening to my brothers, like they're not like my other friends who I see outside and play with. Then of course I'm sure you told him these are your brothers, this is how they are, and you should accept them the way they are, you should love them. How was it for him, and even for you?
It was not easy to make a child understand some of these complexities, especially in forms of, but he saw when the brother convulsed. There's a time the brother was in ICU, so his brother would go away. So there are these things that he was brought into early. But remember, at the same time, he had other issues to handle, specifically that is adjusting to not having a father. He's never followed up, never cared. Even now, they don't know are they alive or dead. Even the time he was in ICU, never bothered to show up when we were being given deadlines of you have to pay this before the child can be, because it was still the same issue. He got very serious convulsions that he needed to be in ICU, but the dad didn't show up. So for me, when that happened, that was when I said, it is done for real. Sometimes you always say, oh, it's a separation. Maybe we'll work things out. You need your space, I need my space. But it's not about me. It's about your child. It has nothing to do with me. Me and you can have our differences, but your child is still your child. And that was the write-off for me. I just told my dad.
Sylvia, one thing my mom always tells me is, mtoto ni wewe, like mtoto ni mama, as in, you just, when you get this baby, you just take care of him or her, ni kama uko peke yako. And that way, if anything happens, you'll still be okay. And you won't still depend on this person when you're younger, then you end up getting depressed or something. And as we wind up this conversation, how are you? I'm sure being able, like having kids who are able differently, it's a bit their medication is quite on the high. How do you handle their medical bills?
I haven't. What I did is my dad took me under, and we are covered because I do consultation for his firm, so I'm under his, and we get covered through that, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford it, considering one doctor's visit is 4,000, around 4,500. My middle child needs speech therapy, occupational therapy to just keep him at par with, like, he's turning 10, but he's not even a 5-year-old, you understand, in actuality. Yeah, he still can't fully talk. He will not be fully aware of his environment in terms of danger. He's learning slowly. He doesn't know how to express pain. So you find by the time he's very sick, we have no idea. It's most of the time like extreme. He doesn't take medicine for like 1 day, 2 days during hospital because of severe convulsions. The younger one was getting febrile convulsions, so he's also under medication. So it takes a toll on you. For me, I can't afford 3 sessions of 2 sets of therapy, and I can't afford therapy for 2 kids. So the last born speech therapy, we're doing it by communication because I can't afford to take him to speech therapy. He started talking at 3 when the brother was 5. Yeah. So, but he's more, things are better. It's just more of the hyperactivity that is more of an issue. But for my middle child, the challenges are still there. We've gone through a lot of children not wanting him around, because there is a point in time when his muscle tones were not done, they were not very okay. He used to look at him like he's weird because he can't talk. You know, his fine motor skills, and then you see for autistics, they get attached to things. So for him, he'll always find that stuff to hang on to. It's his comfort. So you find you end up either I'd rather keep my child to myself than put him out there to face that rejection. But then, you know, even sometimes the thing is, they're so pure of heart, they don't realize the rejection, they don't feel it. But for you, parents, it breaks you into a million pieces. So what you asked me how the elder brother embraced it. I had to explain to him, this is what is going on. And he's the one who's also been through the same, because he'd be invited for a party and he'd be told, don't come with your brothers. And I had to instill in him, we are together for life, no one else. The 4 of us, no one will break us, no one will come in between us. If someone says they're not part of the equation, then ditch them. It's not worth the while. It's actually grown so much with all the awareness that I'm doing. I take him along with me, so he understands autism. He's the one who even told me, Mom, I saw a child who I think is autistic. And you know, he's also my pride and joy. He's such a gentleman. Like, I wouldn't know how life would be without my eldest boy and his level of intelligence and support. So God always has your back one way or another.
As we wind up, Kabisa, what would you advise a parent who's taking care of a child who's able differently? And by the way, I think you're like my 4th person to interview, or like a parent who has a baby with special needs. And one thing I learned is, and I'm always grateful for it, like, these babies have a very special, like, they have a sharp memory, a very, very sharp memory. Please encourage a parent who's raising a child who has a special need. Yeah. Encourage them and how you've walking through your journey and the fact that you're still going with your baby.
The first thing is, it's not a curse, as most people will say. There's nothing you did wrong. God chooses special angels to give them special children. So God knows something inside of you, and he knows you have the strength, the willpower, and just look at that child's ability. Like you just said, they always have that special, unique thing about them. My son's memory is great, that he knows all the songs, some I don't even know. Even if he can't talk, he will hum the tunes at the exact point. My last born goes to a place once, he can remember, he knows this house is for XYZ, this road leads to XYZ's place. So there is always that special thing, and we call him engineer in the house because he will fix everything. So focus on those small positive
Yeah.
things that your child can do, and then support them. That's it. You just work with them, do what you can as a parent. The way you do for any other child, do for them in the level that they need, and you will be amazed at how awesome they will turn out.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure you've enlightened someone, like a parent who's handling a baby with special needs. And from me to you, I just pray that may God's grace be sufficient for you so that you can be able to raise the boys. I mean, it's not an easy journey, but I know God got you, Sylvia.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Right.
And thank you so much, guys, also for tuning in to the parenting show. My name is Mombasa Road, and you're going on a short commercial break. And before then, please follow me on my social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Mombasa Road, and on Twitter, Malin Cherus. Thank you so much. We are going on a short commercial break. Coming up is Juliet, and she has an exciting topic that she'll be talking to someone. So don't go anywhere. Thank you.